Hello, I am Becca. You are watching Rue's Musings. Today I would like to talk about the pause. I will define what the pause is, and then I want to make a very specific and important distinction about the pause. So inside of any sort of spiritual practice or any self-helpy type of practice, I think we learn that we can make different choices. So I suppose that's my first question to you. Do you understand, do all y'all out there understand that inside your life you have choices? We all have a lot of choices. And I always differentiate in my head the choices, external choices versus internal choices. So all of our external circumstances are different, meaning how much money we have or where we live or what our responsibilities are. All of those external things are different. Still, my guess is that most of you watching this video on YouTube are in a place where you really truly have a lot of choices in your life. And I talk about this a fair amount, but sometimes we end up feeling trapped when we're not trapped. I watched 12 Years a Slave 2 nights ago. That's trapped. Then they don't have choices. Their choices are so sincerely limited, and our choices are expansive comparatively. So there's the external choices, which is an interesting situation to me, but I'm more talking about our internal choices. So how we respond to things in our lives is completely up to us, and we all have control over that. Control is not my favorite word, but we all have a choice inside of our choices. We have choices inside of our choices. And yoga teaches us that we can pay attention to these things. So I've been teaching, I said, a lot about awareness. And inside of awareness, I want to talk about the pause. So as you start down your spiritual path or your life's path, and you're trying to line up with your heart's deepest longing, like we talk about, you have a lot of opportunities to practice, meaning you can do things your old way, which we know through practice and practice and practice, that outcome is a certain thing. And most of the time, it's not an outcome that we like very much. Meaning, if you always feel bad when someone doesn't call you back or when you get a nasty look, and then you go home and how you respond to feeling bad is that you drink too much wine or eat too much ice cream or whatever. There's 100 million choices a day that we make that are the most aligned choices we could make. I'm getting a little off the rails here. Bring it in, Beckaroo. We can decide to shift those choices, and this is not an overnight experience. It's not that, I decide I'm going to make different choices and then forevermore that's a seamless, easy experiment on my part. That's not how it goes. But there starts to be what I call and have called the marshmallowy buffer, that today I'm calling the pause. There starts to be a pause where in real time, inside of decision making, you have a choice to do something different. You can make a different choice than the choice you've always made. We have pattern responses that might be rage, that might be depression, that might be all these different things, and we can choose a different choice. There's your motto today. That's what we'll call the video, choose a different choice, or the pause. Our brains are trained to feel as if inside of the pause we have to make the right choice or the best choice. And I'm here to tell you that I think that is much less important than knowing that you have a pause, than recognizing, I have this space in which I can decide. What you decide is not that important to me. You can go ahead and choose your old pattern choice and see if it goes. I do this all the time. Food is an easy example. If there's, eating pizza makes me feel bad, for sure. Depending on what pizza makes me feel, different varyings of bad, but every time I feel at least a little bad to very bad. And still, sometimes I'm like, maybe this pizza won't make me feel so bad. I'll try it again. I know there's the pause. Do I want to make this choice? And I try it again. We need a lot of reinforcement around the things that we want that we know that don't serve us to prove that we're ready to make a shift. So I don't want us to think that inside of the pause there's this pressure to always make the very best choice that we can make. That's not nearly as important as understanding in this moment there's space and I can choose. I know that I have a choice. That to me is so powerful in real time. Theoretically, we know we can decide whatever we want with our life, but then in our lives we feel trapped. We feel like we don't have choices. So especially internally, when we're getting worked up about something, there's that moment of, I can choose to respond differently. That's the pause. if you do respond differently, is not nearly as important as knowing that it's there. And then if you go and do your old pattern response and things work out the way that they usually do, then you're like, oh, maybe next time when I recognize the pause, I'll be ready to make a shift. We aren't ready to make all the shifts we want to make right now in this moment. We're just not. I think that that's fine. I hope that you're forgiving with yourself inside of that. We can't be perfect, perfect wives and perfect husbands and perfect yogis and perfect careers and perfect food choices tomorrow. We can't just decide that we're going to do that. We all know that. We've practiced. We've dreamt of it and it doesn't work. So just start to really recognize when you have that pause. So powerful. And maybe even be grateful about the pause, because it's such a huge blessing that we know that we recognize that we have a choice. And then don't worry too much about the choice that you make. Can you do that? I hope so. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can Facebook message me back, or you can go to the website playyogastudio.com, and then that will get you to my email if you have any questions. And share this videos with your friends. Hallelujah! See you next week.